I just want to go back into like everything about you as an actor, voicing, live action stuff. Because you're like a regular voice actor now, right? So you've done it all from like babies to
Mm-hmm.
mutants.
Yep.
Yeah,
Babies to mutants to Avengers to chocolate makers to crazy coyotes. Yeah. Uh-huh.
yeah. And I guess like with the voice acting realm, so what is it about voice acting to you that just gravitate you towards that medium?
I think when I started out in Hollywood, my I was pursuing on camera and then also started pursuing voiceover simultaneously. And while I found myself being typecast a lot with on camera in terms of, I mean, it was just a lot of like, "Hey Mary," like those type of roles. With voice acting, I was doing so many different things, like so many different roles. I mean, one of my earliest roles was with Skylanders, and I was playing a undead Australian werewolf rocker guy, and I was like, okay, yeah, there's a lot more variety here. So
Yeah.
that's what I've really loved about it is that I've played so many different characters. One would argue that many of my characters have gone to a good college, but but other than that, like I've really gotten to play such a diverse uh, group of people, which has been really fun.
Yeah, is that like the point of wanting to become an actor to play different types of
You'd
characters?
think,
Yeah.
you'd think, yeah,
And
yeah,
we're talking more about Morph later on because Morph is the definition of just like a diverse character that can change into anything.
right.
And I want to talk about, let's say, your time in Crash Bandicoot as the trophy, the nefarious
Entropy,
boss.
yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so that's okay. That's a boss, and that's completely different. Like I don't know how you would, if you would say you portray yourself as that, or is like something very out there. And
Well, I've always had an affinity for villains. I
yeah,
mean, my avatar, as it were, my spiritual kin is Skeletor. I have always felt a kinship to Skeletor. He-Man was the first show that I watched growing up, and I was like, who cares about the blonde bimbo? I like Skeletor. Like, and I think for cartoon villains, of course, there's that element of being very misunderstood and just trying to be seen and heard, and I so identify with that. So whether it was Skeletor or the Joker or Jafar or Ursula or any litany of Disney villains, and then leading up to a delicious villain like Entropy, I mean, it was just so much fun to sink my teeth into. And this was another character that had been voiced previously. Corey Burton did a fantastic job with him, but I really enjoyed just putting my spin on it and paying homage to what Corey had done, but also just making it my own.
oh yeah, and with this, yeah, the the different. I'm just like thinking about the premiere because we were there and the crowd went wild for X-Men 97. That's what we're talking about. And the theme song, I don't know if you were humming or singing along to it or you're like just watching the crowd.
How can you not? I mean, that theme song is so iconic. It's funny. I talk about how I didn't watch the series until later because when I was growing up, when I would get home from school, I would turn on the TV and I would see the end credits of X-Men as it was going into Power Rangers, which was my jam. And both theme songs written by the same two people and two of the catchiest theme songs of the 90s, maybe of all time. I don't know. I'm not one to say, but just incredible, incredible theme songs.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I didn't know about that with the theme song written by the same person. But yeah, it's those are iconic. Go
Hmm.
Power Rangers. Yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, once it's in your head, it'll never get out.
and so
and the same and the same thing with I mean,
yeah.
like
So
what, 12 notes?
12 no, that's it. So yeah, so that means yeah, you weren't there, but you watched it after. Like, so what was that like? Was it after getting the part or before that?
Um, After, actually. I mean, My fandom for X-Men started with the movies, really.
Yeah.
Uh and once I got into the movies, and then once, like Wikipedia and stuff came along, I would really get sucked into the lore and be like, wait a minute, who's that character? There's that one mutant over there. That's an Easter egg. Who is that? And then I would, like, do the deep dive and figure out who it was, or watch YouTube videos and be like, oh, okay. Um, so I really back-ended all of my interest in lore by starting with the movies and then learning about everything afterwards. But I really dove into the TV show after I got the role, um, and learned about, Morph, and more about him, and what his trajectory, his tragic trajectory in the original series was. Um, but I identified so much with it. He simultaneously had a really tragic backstory. Thank you, Mr. Sinister, and but also deals with it with so much humor, and his trademark little laugh, and I just really identify with that. I don't think there are many queer people who don't identify with that sort of
Yeah.
masking. So yeah.
And I don't know if there was like any pressure for you on that part to just take on the role for Morph, and or you were like, I got this. Let's do this. This is gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of, because I've played a lot of legacy characters that people have voiced before, and there are, with each one, there's greater or lesser degrees of expectation of how much I'm supposed to sound like the previous person that's done it. The nice thing about Morph was there wasn't, I mean, I had to get the signature laugh down, which we don't do a ton of, PS, because there's a degree of grounding him in reality that we want to have. But I did have the freedom to really make him my own. Um, in the same way, like, I compare it a little bit to when I did Wile E. Coyote, because Morph wasn't seen in a whole ton of episodes. In the same way that most people just think of Wile E. Coyote as being a silent character, there wasn't a lot of, like, predisposition of, like, they need to sound exactly like this, so I could put a little spin on it. And for me, I really just wanted this character to sound like me. I didn't want to do a voice. I didn't want to, try to do what Ron was doing before, because I mean, that's an iconic version. I really just wanted to make it like, I just want him to sound like me, and just
Hmm.
go at the character that way. So that takes the pressure off, where you can find the way in that's like, well, this is my version, so we'll see what people think.
Oh yeah. Well, I enjoyed it a lot, and with this interview, we'll release it after the first two episodes air, so we can talk about the nitty gritty of
Oh, phew. Okay.
yes. And so
So
yeah, you're
everyone
no.
dies. No.
Everybody's dead. Morph decides, you know what? I'm taking over. I'm gonna transform
hmm
into Professor X, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah,
Uh,
your character, there's no, because for me, like my background, like I loved Morph. He only appeared in like a couple episodes, and then the Mr. Sinister thing, and then he appears later on.
mhm.
But I always remember with Wolverine climbing on a Sentinel, this one's for you, Morph, and I'm like happy about Morph just being back. And Morph is back here with X-Men '97, and your character, you get to just have a lot of fun. Your character is like kind of like us watching it.
Yeah, yeah. It's fun to be. I love being the comic relief. I'm a huge fan of that. He's got some really fun one-liners and zingers. And yeah, I really enjoy that. I also really enjoy that he is a collaborative character, in that I play him, but then anytime I'm turning into somebody else, that other person who voices that character gets to do a version of me.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like, no, wait, I'm trying to make sure that when I say this, I'm trying to make sure it's in epic. Yeah. Like when I turn into Jean, and then Jennifer Hale gets to do me. That I loved what she did. It's
Oh
super fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
Especially yeah, because there was the club scene, and Morph transforms into Jean Grey, makes fun of Wolverine. Morph makes fun of Wolverine every chance he gets.
Because we're best friends. Like,
Yeah.
we have that symbiotic relationship, and or not symbiotic, that connected relationship. Yeah, there's so many just lovely moments with Wolverine. Uh, is there? Does he have a crush on him? Who knows? But I love the. I just love that really tight relationship they have because I mean, from the original series, like Wolverine said, he's the only one that could make me laugh. And I
And
love
yeah, no,
that. Yeah.
yeah, he made the audience laugh, and I enjoyed that. It was just like, let's say your first the appearance, right? Your first appearance, and we're not sure like who it is yet because Professor X is showing up. Oh, he's walking. Okay, that can't be Professor X. Maybe he's making people think he's walking, but we all know better. And I think for you, like, what was your experience like just seeing with the crowd for the first time? The first time we could see Morph in X Men '97.
I gotta say, the biggest shock for me, like that was cool. That was cool. I mean, and you could tell, as I've said, anytime any character starts talking like with a really snarky, sarcastic tone, hi, it's me. Um, but for me, the big shocker was the title sequence. I didn't think my character got to get like the big dramatic reveal in the title sequence. And I mean, talk about iconic. That was when my jaw was on the floor.
Yeah. Wait, so they didn't tell you that? Like, oh, JP, by the way, you're gonna be in the intro, the theme song, and all that.
Nope. Nope. Yeah, I thought it would just be, the same ones that were in it from the original. And um yeah, and yeah, I was emotional. It was cool.
Oh yeah. And now that no, because you watch it now, you see it, and then let's say like this season two is gonna happen, and let's say you're I
Season
don't know
2
what
is
happens.
happening.
Yeah, I don't know what happens later on. Anything could happen, but let's say you're back, and now you know what the episodes are like. Uh, so what are you going to go in with just that knowledge and going forward with your voice acting?
Uh I mean, I don't want to say more of the same, but a lot of it is always staying true to the character. And because look, in 30 minutes, so much happens in the X-Men universe. It is crazy how the roller coaster rides that all of these characters go on. So for me, it's so important to just strap in and stay grounded to who Morph is so that no matter what crazy wackadooey thing is happening to him and the rest of the group, he's still Morph, which also is weird saying because he's a shapeshifter. So there's
Yeah.
there, there's that element of like holding on to the nugget of who he is no matter who he changes into or what's going on. So I think that, and I also think um, tapping into, he's funny. There's always the one-liners. There's the comic relief element, but he does have that tragic backstory. I mean, you see it in that opening credits, like in addition to the gorgeous reveal with the name, there's also that little cut of him like shooting at something and then you see like the eyes of Sinister appear and terrify him, so he's got that always in the back of his mind. So you want to make sure that humanity, that trauma, that heart is still plays.
Oh yeah. And yeah, because the 30-minute episodes, I felt like even though it's short, you still feel it's like everything has that slow pace. You feel for the characters. Nothing feels like it's moving too fast. And that's pretty impressive for just the direction, the writing, and also the performance. And for you watching it, because for me, I was like laughing, I was like just getting emotional, and I'm just happy it's back, and I just want to know what you
Yeah,
feel about that.
it never feels rushed. It always you're right, it does have those breathing moments, those really tender and beautiful dramatic scenes that are in there, and there's a bunch. Like, I mean, I keep talking about my husband, who is not a comic book person. Like he's always been like a Broadway person. He was like deeply emotional about the whole thing because there are so many just grounded, human, gorgeous moments. But at the same time, when you get to the end of the episode, if you think about how much happened, it's like, oh my God, they covered so much ground, and yet I never felt rushed or like, what's happening? It's so well paced. It's so well written and so well paced.
Oh yeah. And I wanna ask you, like, let's say last question, right?
Hmm.
Out of the first two episodes, like what would be like your favorite moment experiencing that?
Oh, Um, I favorite moment. There's so many like immediately, so many
It's like
things come
all
to
of Morph is apart.
No, that's the funny thing. My favorite moment. See, this is when like the fan and the actor start to like fight with each other because my the favorite moments that are coming to mind are not things that necessarily have to do with Morph, like hearing Storm for the first time, hearing Allison's iconic voice like start to so majestically speak about like speak the lines of Storm, or to hear Rogue with that adorable scratchy Southern drawl, like just all those little iconic things, like they just made me giddy hearing them. Um, so yeah, I mean those are some of my favorites. Obviously, I love Jen Hale playing me. Thank you, thank you. Um, I think, but if I have to pick like a favorite Morph moment, I would say probably um there's that little oh wait a minute. I'm trying to think. Is this the second or the third
It gets
episode?
tricky,
Oh,
right? I know.
it's so hard. Um okay, just out of safety, I'm gonna go default here. I'm gonna say the basketball moment. I'm gonna
Okay,
say
yeah.
like seeing Morph actually play basketball, like look dressed like, let's be honest, like Screech is hilarious to me.
Ah, Screech.
I just love seeing it. That moment feels so quintessentially '90s for me. I love that. I love the way everybody's dressed. I love the way everybody like the whole dynamic amongst everybody. It's great.
All right. Well, I just want to say it's been a pleasure, JP, and I can't wait for watching the rest of the episodes, probably along with you in real time, when it's released. I'm pretty sure
Mhm.
they'll let you send it to you before, like, hey, JP, watch this now.
I
But
hope that'd be
yeah, yeah,
nice.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, because
Yeah.
you're Morph, so come on. But yeah, it's been a pleasure.
You too, John. It's great meeting you.